Maybe you're beginning to consider upgrading your boat or selling a boat that you're just not using enough to justify having a payment. Should you sell it to the general public, sell it to a dealer, or just trade it in for a new one? Spoiler alert, there is no simple or precise answer. The right answer for you depends on several different factors, and in this video, we'll attempt to identify the different decision variables so that you can make the right decision for your situation. Almost without exception, the theoretically best way to maximize the cash back in your pocket is to sell a boat yourself. Think of it this way. The market, potential buyers, and other sellers with similar boats determine what a boat will sell for. You, of course, decide what price to post your boat at, and the market decides what it'll sell for. Understanding this fact, it's important to know whether you're selling your boat yourself or if a dealer is selling it. The boat's gonna sell for approximately the same amount. So if you sell it yourself, all the proceeds from the sale go to you, therefore maximizing the cash in your pocket. And if only it were that cut and dry. Let's walk through some of the factors that will determine your selling experience. There's some pretty good resources that you can use to get your boat the exposure you need to successfully sell. Boat Trader, online forums, and social media are all really good ways to get your boat noticed. And depending on your situation, this may end up being all the exposure that you need, but it may not. It's important to understand that a large and reputable dealer will use many of the same listing strategies that you do. For instance, they'll also list your boat on Boat Trader, but it's not the same though. You'll pay about $50 to $100 to list your boat on Boat Trader. For a potential buyer who enters your precise boat in a search, they may very well find a listing in a huge pool of boats on the market. But you gotta understand, a prominent boat dealer pays Boat Trader fees over $10,000 a month. Their listings get priority placement. The same boat listed by you versus listed by a dealer is gonna be seen infinitely more times on the dealer's side. Also, a successful dealer will have a maximized search engine optimization strategy for their website. The point is, you very well might hit just right and find the perfect buyer by using the above mentioned strategies, but the dealer's chances of selling boats are just so much higher as a result of the reach and exposure that's built into their business. This leads many sellers to pursue a strategy of taking a go at it on their own for a period and then having a backup plan to sell to a dealer if they're not successful. It's not a bad strategy unless time is of the essence. Selling anything to the general public can be a hassle. And maybe you've sold an old couch or a bike that you just don't ride on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or eBay. Now imagine these complications being compounded by the fact that you're selling an item worth thousands of dollars. It's 1,000 times more complicated. The first but moderately frustrating aspect is the sheer number of mindless inquiries. Ever gotten that direct message, "Is this item still available?" That one makes you roll your eyes, and it's not incredibly inconvenient. But the next level inquiry is a buyer who wants to talk it out and proceed to ask you questions that you could have never thought to anticipate. Trust me, the list of questions goes on and on. And then, after the inquisition, ghosted. Not all calls end with the ghosting though, of course. Some want to come see the boat, but this is where it gets hairy. You might encounter Jim the Joyrider. Jim is the guy that seems all pumped up and excited about buying your boat. He asks for a test drive. You arrange your schedule to take him out, drive him around, and answer all the questions he asks. And then he departs saying, "Let me think about it and I'll talk to the wife," and ghost. And then you may encounter Harry the Haggler. After taking your valuable time and energy, he says he'll take it if you can drop the price by some ridiculous amount. Or how about Hold It For Me Holden? He's the guy that says he's definitely gonna buy it. He just works until late every evening and he can't get there until Sunday, you know, the day that you try to spend with your family. He says that if you'll just hold it and not sell it, he'll bring you the cash on Sunday. And then finally, there's Financing Phil. Phil shows up at the appointed time, loves the boat, accepts the price, and then drops the bomb. Boy, this could go south quickly. You get the picture. There are about 100 other frustrating scenarios, but I think you get the point. Finding the right buyer isn't always as bleak as the picture that I'm painting. Sometimes finding the buyer just falls right into place, so then it's time to complete the transaction. Are you prepared to transfer titles, warranties, registration, and more? It's not complicated if you're accustomed to doing it, but are you? Dealing with these challenges is just what dealerships do for a living. It's just a part of the day-to-day for them. No less frustrating, but they're set up to deal with it. Think of it this way. They earn their profits by dealing with all of that, so you don't have to. So if you decide to sell or trade to a dealer, what should you expect? First, find a dealer of some significant size with a strong reputation. I'm not throwing shade on smaller dealers, but the reality is that for the dealer to have the available cash necessary to give you a fair price for your boat, they tend to be larger, more established operations. Before engaging with the dealer, do your research. A really great place to start is boatvalue.com. It's powered by JD Powers and the NADA. The NADA values are not scientific and shouldn't necessarily be taken as gospel, but it's a really good place to start. If your boat has really low hours and has been cared for exceptionally, then the dealer's likely able to give you a little bit more than the used trade-in value. And next, search Boat Trader for your model and similar model year ranges. This will give you a really good idea of what others are asking for similar boats, but be discerning here though. Keep in mind that the asking price is not necessarily the selling price. Don't make the overly optimistic mistake of assuming that because you saw the boat listed on Boat Trader for some exorbitant price, that's what your boat will sell for. The best strategy for approaching a dealer is to go in armed with the facts. You should be able to say, here's the used trade-in value from boatvalue.com, and here are 3 very similar comps. Based on this information, I'd like to get X for my boat. Now, don't mistake that to mean that the dealer's just automatically gonna agree to your number. There are many factors, but a good dealer should be able to respond with very understandable justifications for why they can or can't agree to your number. There should be numerous and very reasonable explanations. And for example, the slow-moving, hard-to-move model is overstocked in that category, the overall market is soft currently, and the boating season is coming to an end, and just a ton of other possible valid reasons. There's almost always a negotiation to be had, and that's okay. It's generally not that the dealer is trying to squeeze every cent out of you. The dealer is just taking a financial risk by buying your boat. Once they turn that cash over to you, it's the cash that they don't have available until they turn the boat around and sell it. Any responsible dealer will try to minimize their risk while at the same time being fair to you. The main point is you have to find a dealer that you can trust and one that displays a great deal of transparency in how they communicate about the transaction. Now here's a big red flag. If a dealer gives you 2 different prices, one for a trade and then one for if they buy it outright, the boat that they're buying from you is going to sell for the same, whether they buy it from you outright or take it in as a trade. Why would the offer be different for a trade or purchase? If it smells fishy, it probably is. Deciding whether to sell your boat to a private party or to sell it to a dealer just really comes down to a calculation of value to you. Is it worth the hassle to maximize the cash in your pocket? Not that the decision itself is simple, but it does just come down to that. Sometimes it's hard to know if it's going to be worth the hassles or not until you try, and there's nothing wrong with giving it a shot and then using a good dealership that you trust as your backup. Also, there's nothing wrong with avoiding the headaches right from the get-go and having a dealer write you a check on the spot and being done, giving you the time to enjoy the things in life that you want to be doing with the money that you just collected. Whichever path you choose, good luck and happy boating. Give this YouTube video a like, subscribe to our channel for more educational boating content, and we'll see you in the next video.